Yo, 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 what is going on, you guys? This is your host, Brandon,
And this is Blake.
and we're coming at you with a really, really special episode, kind of a cap of the year episode. A really, really cool tradition that Blake and I have started since we started the podcast, and we're glad to continue it this year. This is going to be our top 5 list.
Game of the year. Yeah,
Game
this
of
is
the year, baby.
a little bit different this year. Normally we do a top 10, but as you guys know, we had a busy year. We took a little break in the middle, and we just kind of were making a top 10 list and thought, hey, top 5 makes more sense for us. So we're doing a top 5 this year, baby. And I'm honestly... so yeah, I guess we're just going right into the top 5. Honestly, really excited to get into it. We normally do these episodes sober, but we just both grabbed a beer. So honestly, we're here to celebrate, man. 2024 is
Yes.
a tough year, and we're just going to drink and have a good time and talk about our top 5 games of the year.
Let's do it.
But before we get into it, we do just kind of want to acknowledge that this year we boycotted the video game industry. We didn't really buy any new video games. And we kind of had talked about this at the end of 2023, and we did that because over 10,000 people lost their jobs in 2022. And we kind of did this as a way to kind of protest that. But wouldn't you know, 2023, the trend continued. And as of today, over 14,000 people have lost their jobs in 2023 alone. So that's almost 25,000 people in the video game industry that lost their jobs in the last 2 years. And I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I feel like that is just so many people. I mean, obviously we have no idea how many people work in the video game industry, but that's gotta be a significant portion.
Yeah,
You
I
know what I
feel like
mean?
it's a very niche environment. Not many people you will meet work on video games. And I mean, we went to PlayCon and we met people who do work on video games, and it just so happens some of them have like other jobs that that isn't their main job.
Yeah, I think actually most of them had other jobs just because they're like, it just can't support. It's a creative process. You're creating something, you're not actively earning money. And it's a very interesting profession. But yeah, I guess like a lot of these jobs, I think were at like larger studios, and it's just really sad to see that. And I don't know, it kind of feels like we're just at an inflection point with video games. So I guess before we get into that, I think we just wanted to acknowledge that and just say shout out to everyone that lost their job. Thanks for making these cool games for us to enjoy, and we hope you land on your feet.
Definitely, definitely. And that's part of the reason why we felt like it was appropriate to do a 5 instead of a 10, because we weren't buying anything new this year. And so we kind of were just digging into our library of games we already had. So our list will reflect that.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. And I guess I do actually want to just kind of touch on kind of a couple things that have happened recently, just because we're at the end of the year. Like I said, I kind of feel like we're at like an inflection point with video games, and there were, I guess, 2 notable video games that came out this year, and the companies had to make statements to their shareholders that they significantly underperformed. And one of those was Star Wars Outlaws, which was developed by Ubisoft, and the most recent 2 Final Fantasy games significantly underperformed, and those were published and developed by Square Enix. Or actually, I think published by PlayStation and developed by Square Enix for Final Fantasy. I just think that's kind of crazy, man. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that specifically?
On what again?
Just like Star Wars and Final Fantasy, like these 2 games that were just like heavily marketed. And I mean, I personally was excited for at least the Star Wars game, and they just like really, really underperformed.
I have to say, looking at the newest Call of Duty and how much their focus as far as a design approach was on microtransactions and not so much the gameplay, I can see that trend carrying over amongst very, different video game houses that put these games out. And that seems to be the trend, Blake. Seems like, at least from my perspective, a lot of these big name developers are able to get investment, and they're guaranteeing returns.
Kind of like baking in monetary design, kind of just like baking it into the game.
That is the primary focus on design in 2024, at least for the major video game houses, which, Makes sense, right? You're a huge corporation, but there's a balance. I think there's a balance that needs to be kind of respected. It's a fine line between art and profits. And, I'm not going to pretend that it's not, it's easy to do, but we're seeing the results of that, right? New games will come out and people aren't even buying them or touching them. And if they do, they kind of fall off of them quickly. And I think that's a sign of the design is fundamentally wrong.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think a lot of this, obviously this is just our observations, from taking a step back and, you're not playing games. I 100% agree, man. I kind of feel like just kind of like listening to the reception, especially of like Star Wars Outlaws. Like this was a game that I really wanted to play, and it kind of came out and people were, I guess, a common critique of this game. I mean, obviously we didn't play it. People were saying that it was just very broad and there were just so many systems within it that just didn't like fully invest you as a player. And it was kind of, I think that a lot of people are saying that it was like, they think that it was developed that way to have like mainstream appeal, a more broader appeal. And if it's trying to, I guess, appeal to the most amount of people, it's going to resonate with the fewest.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's kind of how I look at it. And I guess just kind of going on to some other kind of market trends, there was some market data that showed that people are playing older games. And I think we talked about this during one of our episodes this year. But the majority of people were playing games that were 6 years or older, based on some like industry data and marketing research. And the major consoles the sales are declining. And I think it's a little bit interesting that sales of things like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally are rising in this environment. I mean, those are primarily PC. They're basically laptops that have controllers baked in. I have a Steam Deck myself. And I guess there's also just something else that I wanted to mention is there was like a full AAA $70 title, Assassin's Creed, also by Ubisoft.
I didn't even know that came out this year.
It was published natively on iPhones.
They dropped, man. They dropped the ball on that IP. But continue, I'm sorry.
Honestly, I mean, you're not wrong.
It's such a great idea, but not today. Today's is a celebration.
Today's a celebration. Yeah, and then there was also a mobile game, Balatro. This came out on, I think, Steam and other platforms like Nintendo Switch for $14 and came out a couple months later on iPhone and Android for $9.99. And this game was nominated for Game of the Year. Well, I guess the Game of the Year by Jeff Keighley. So I guess the most recognized Game of the Year. They didn't win, but I mean, they were still nominated. How do you feel about that? Like hearing that people are playing older games, console sales are on the decline, and full AAA Assassin's Creed game came out on mobile.
Well, first I want to say, like, when we're talking about market data, it's very big picture. But from my personal experience, when I get on my PlayStation and I look at my friends list, the new Black Ops is out. Like, there's a whole new zombies experience. But I've seen consistently over the past couple weeks, 2 or 3 people getting on Black Ops Cold War or getting on the older zombies maps because they're just not happy with the experience that they're getting on the new Call of Duty. And so
is it not good?
I mean, I'm sure it's great. I've looked at gameplay. I definitely would love to play it, but just seeing like my own kind of primary data set is like that is true. Because a lot of times, like this big data, it's easy to misconstrue it.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of times it comes from like congruent Steam player counts.
Yep.
So it's like who's playing on Steam right now and what are they playing?
Yeah, and sometimes these major corporations make the wrong decisions based off of this data. I was just watching an interview with 50 Cent, and he was talking about how, when he first started off with Stars, they were looking at the data of women who had paid for subscriptions. And he was saying that just because a large majority of your subscription base are women does not mean that you have to cater solely to them, because a lot of the time they're not really considering that, like, sometimes women in a household are the people who will pay for the subscriptions for everyone. And, they'll just accommodate that for the household kind of thing. And so I liked how he was bringing up kind of like, when we're looking at data, we have to like really read between the lines. And so, going back to this is I can see it firsthand, and You know, it makes me think about what we were talking about in our last episode, Blake, as far as like Pokemon and their lack of focus on the gameplay, their lack of focus on the quality, and just wanting to put out quantity, wanting to meet kind of the market trends, right? Because there are like patterns that these companies are following, and they're trying to rush, like, oh, we want to get this out in Q3 because that's, historically that's where people have bought the most games, so let's get something out for that, even though their development cycle might not really be able to meet that.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, I've got so much to say on Pokemon, dude, but I feel like we should shelve that for another episode. And yeah, I guess I do kind of just want to touch on a little bit. Obviously the economics of art are inherently complicated. There's always going to be this kind of conflict between, the people that make it and the people that fund it.
The patrons.
Yeah, and we've actually kind of seen. So I guess I go to great lengths to not talk about this on the podcast, kind of my personal and professional careers. I think you kind of feel the same way, Brandon. But I do have a degree in economics, so I do want to speak to this just a little bit. If you'll humor me for a moment. There's a lot of data. When I was in college, I attended this great lecture about the economics of art. And there was this professor that was studying, I don't remember what university he was studying at, but his research was all about kind of documenting who pays for art and how and when that's changed, and how the funding of art impacts, I guess, the quote unquote results to the best of our ability to judge. And for a long time, the majority of human history, art was funded by institutions such as organized religion. If you think of like the Sistine Chapel and, the art that is there, like Michelangelo, for example, obviously he painted the Sistine Chapel, but the majority of his commissions during his life were from churches and, religious institutions. So there's always kind of going to be, and even at that time, there was documented evidence that there was conflicts between, I think there was like personal letters, between like the conflicts that he wanted, where he wanted to take it and where the church did as well. So there's always going to be those conflicts. And I think it's in the more recent, I guess, centuries, I think this commercial art as we know it today, where it's like there's kind of a commercial backer, and then, you have like art as a product. That is a relatively new profession and phenomenon, where it's kind of like the mercantile class commissioning paintings of themselves and their families in like the 1700s. That was kind of like the first examples of, when we saw art, or the funding of art and the economics of that and how that had kind of shifted. And it gave the artist a lot more freedom, because, the profits on commission piece are so much higher that they would be able to pursue their own art. And we kind of saw that over the centuries. So there's always going to be this kind of conflict between where the money comes from and, what the art ends up being. Because if you're in the process of creating something, you're just not thinking about that. You're just not thinking about the bottom line. And I think that we're really kind of seeing the effects of that at a larger scale. And I guess a good resource that I'd like to point to you is Jason Schreier. He published a book this year. I actually don't remember what it's called. Also, did that make sense at all?
I was following. That made sense to me. Kind of the shift from these huge institutions that have a lot of money to pay for art into kind of more normal people with less funds, but are willing to pay for things that they want specifically. And so that means more art is being created, and therefore artists are able to practice more and create more. And with that comes, their own creations as a result. If you're being commissioned only 2 or 3 times a year versus you have 20 families that you need to paint for, you're going to be more likely to make more things and just be more creative.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I guess something else I want to touch on, in this day and age, the democratization of tools just for art in general, let alone making video games, it's just become a lot more accessible. So I guess kind of like what we were saying, like some of the developers that we met this past year, they had part-time jobs and, they were pursuing it as a passion. And I think part of the passion is the passion of video games and pushing the craft forward, but also, there's a monetary incentive to where if their indie game pops off, they might be able to make another one. that has a bigger scope and scale.
Definitely. And that's what we want to see here. The sticky, sticky buttons. We want to see more indie games pop off because we both agree that there's just a little more love in the pudding when it's made by an indie developer than AAA.
Yeah, definitely. But I did find that book that I spoke about. So that's Play Nice, The Rise, Fall, and Future of Blizzard Entertainment. And that's really fascinating.
That's a huge one. That's a huge video game developer. Then I would love to learn about their story.
I honestly, the audiobook's on Spotify. So if you have Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify,
I do.
Just give it a listen. It's great. Actually, his other 2 books are on Spotify as well. Blood, Sweat, and Pixels and Press Reset. But yeah, those books are great. I highly recommend listening to those. And I guess there's a quote that sticks out to me. Because Play Nice and the start of Blizzard. It was just a group of guys that started this company. Then they started making video games. And there's a quote that sticks with me where it's, when millions turned to billions, everything changed. And I just think that that has stuck with me. That's a quote that, I don't know, that I kind of take with me. I just think that's an interesting, I guess, piece in the whole story. And they had a founder that left, and he kind of came back, and he was kind of expecting to be kind of welcomed back, kind of like Steve Jobs. And literally nobody gave a fuck. Which is kind of crazy because you learn about the history and I'm like, holy shit, this dude was a founder and left to start a family and came back and nobody cared at all. And honestly, crazy. Anyways, go read that book. I guess that's our GOATY book of the year.
Our GOATY book of the year / podcast of the year. Audiobook of the year.
Audiobook of the year. Jason Schreier's Play Nice. Well, I guess before we get into our top 5, did anything really change for you this year when you were getting on to play? Did you find yourself wanting to play the newest game, or did you find any of your habits shifting as we weren't buying new games?
I definitely did. Not being able to buy, let me not phrase it like that, but not buying new games, that allowed me to kind of, one, appreciate the library that I already had. There's just already such an insane amount of games in my library that if I look at my trophies, I only have 2, and I barely touch those games. So, definitely the urge to kind of just get back in there and just be curious about some of those titles. It made me realize that I, purchased a lot of titles that I wasn't necessarily passionate about, and that's something that I'm grateful that I was able to kind of take a step back from and kind of observe that behavior and be able to kind of identify it again in the future. That's something I really hope to take into this next year. And then I would have to say, just picking up other forms of entertainment, once you're not playing video games as much, you might read some manga, or, you might pick up a show. I watched the whole Sopranos series this year and I fell in love. It's now my favorite show.
Oh, that's awesome.
But that's kind of what happened this year. How about you?
So I kind of just in regard to video games, I found myself going back to older titles and kind of in the similar vein. I realized there were so many games that I had bought that just because they were kind of trendy in the moment, or I had bought this game and I really wanted to experience it, to be a part of the conversation when we did our episode about it. And then for me just to be man, I really don't want to go back to this. Or I had definitely had some FOMO, or some games were coming out this year and I was really excited I wanted to get them and I wanted to support it. And then just to be you know what, actually I'm probably okay if I don't experience this one. And I don't know, taking that step back really, I think was good in terms of that. I had a really fulfilling year in terms of the time that I spent gaming. I felt more fulfilled by, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I feel I was actually diving deeper into games and taking my time with them more. And I feel that was more fulfilling for me personally. Did you experience anything like that?
Definitely. You kind of have to work with, the games that you already have. And so you find yourself spending more time on them. You learn new things about these games that you may have not encountered in the past because you were rushing to play. Well, for me, I'd be rushing to play the new 2K or rushing to, get on that new Call of Duty. Definitely a lot of FOMO this year.
Yeah, definitely.
But you
I had a lot of fun.
You kind of get past like a point where it's just like, the games aren't going anywhere. If it's really something that you feel you want, it's gonna be there. And like it almost felt like a meditative process of like I got to observe myself kind of like fall prey to these
100%.
to this marketing and to these companies. And it definitely, it opened my eyes, and it's something I'll be more aware of, more observant about going forward.
God, dude, I can't tell you how many times I was so hyped for a video game, and I was like, damn, like I would have bought this in a second. And I'm gonna be honest, dude, I can't even remember what those games were. It was like honestly, like I know that we were doing this. Like I had something in my cart at one point, and I was like about to just like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy this game, and then I was just like, I didn't do it, and I have no idea what it was. So I feel like that, like the marketing and just the FOMO, wanting to be a part of the conversation, I feel like that really, like I saw that in myself, and I was like, you know what? For me, it was like after like the summer, I was like, good. You know what I mean? I feel like, I don't know, like weaning yourself off of something for whatever reason. That's kind of what it felt like to me.
No, definitely.
Whereas like I kind of like pushed through, and it's like, since we pushed through, we had this like, I don't know, for me, it felt like a moment of clarity. I was like, damn, okay.
It definitely did feel like a moment of clarity. That's a good way to put it. And like, once you have that clarity, you can start to like identify how things are being marketed to you. Like, for example, if I were playing the old 2K and then I opened my YouTube app for some reason, I would get immediately like a recommended video about the new 2K. And it's
100%.
like, it's interesting that I'm able to observe that now, whereas in the past I would have been like, damn, like, let me watch this video, like, let me see what the new game is like. It's like now I'm like, I know that this is probably just ads that are being, these companies are probably paying to make their videos show up more, or YouTube probably just knows.
Or, it's almost one of those things where it's kind of like, if it's in the zeitgeist, and it's kind of like trending, it's probably because it just came out, and there is this kind of push behind it, and I kind of feel like taking the step back. I mean, I really, honestly, like, now that I'm on the other side of it, I feel like I have a healthier relationship with it.
No, for surely. It's a very consumerist hobby. It is. It's like you kind of have to slow down and really cherish the experiences, because these games there's a lot of work that goes into these games, and you can't really appreciate it playing them like 20, 30 hours. You really got to give them some time to really be able to appreciate and understand like what they were actually trying to put out. A game that comes to mind as far as that, probably Texas, but that's on my list.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
we'll get to the list. I don't know. I feel like we need to fully like see this through, man.
Yeah,
because like I feel like for me this year, like I really feel like I rediscovered my like love of gaming, where it was just like, hey, like just slow down, enjoy the ride, And I feel like you can take that with you outside of video games, and I feel like that's a really important lesson.
And you don't have to play the 2024 video game to have a good time. This year has definitely taught me that it doesn't matter. And I mean, the stat we brought up earlier definitely speaks to that. People are playing games that are 5-6 years old, and now more than ever. And I think we can see why. It's just, there's too much product out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess just one last thing before we move on. I did find myself going to other things too. Like I did watch a movie or two when I normally would have played video games. Like at this point, I haven't fully seen the trilogy through, but I like sat down and watched like the extended cut of Lord of the Rings.
That's awesome.
Like the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers. I sat down and like actually made time to watch those, and I was like, wow, like I really enjoyed that. Whereas I may have just been playing whatever video game, and I feel like that was something that was worth experiencing. And I've been reading so much manga, dude. Naruto is living rent free in my mind, man.
Dude, that manga is just amazing. That's definitely like a gateway manga, because once you get into that shonen, every other shonen becomes appealing to you now.
Yeah. I mean, I read Demon Slayer all the way through, and I think I did maybe like a smaller series. But yeah, I'm really into Naruto right now, man.
Yeah, man.
I want to pick up the show, but I want to see it through.
No, man. Take your time with the manga, man. That's really where it's at. One Piece I've gotten really into One Piece. I bought every volume. I'm currently like on almost in 70 out of like, there's only about 150 something out right now. That's English translated. If I wanted to like read more, I can translate the Japanese version.
Honestly, dude, if you start learning Japanese now, by the time you make it through the rest of the manga series, you'll be able to just keep going.
That's not a terrible idea. I love manga, so it'd be really cool to like read it fresh off the press as soon as it comes out, not have to wait for anybody to translate it.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, man. I also have made time to do some Duolingo this year. I'm on like a 78-day streak on learning Japanese on Duolingo.
That's
like,
awesome.
We're bettering ourselves, man.
We are, man. There's just more intentionality when you take like any hobby, not just video games, and kind of just take a step back and reflect. And just try to be more intentional. You'll find that you'll become kind of a more rational consumer, for lack of a better word or term.
Yeah, definitely. Well, dude, on that note, you ready to go into our top 5 games of the year 2024?
Let's go. GOTY 2024. Man, what
do you want me to start, or
what a list? I'll start it off. You want to start with the last? So
definitely 5. Definitely work our way from 5 to 1.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna start it off with Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. For me, this is something that like I've kind of come around to this year. There were a lot of other games that came out after BDSP, and I didn't really feel like I got to kind of really take in that game for what it was and what they were trying to do. Definitely a good example of how taking this hiatus from purchasing games has allowed me to kind of take another look at a title. And BDSP is one of those for me. It's just something that like is full of nostalgia if you've played Pearl and Diamond or Platinum. And you can tell there's kind of like a reverence for the game by the people who made it, a reverence for the original Pearl and Diamond by just the little things that they included. So, you know, in the past episode, we're talking about like the little details and how important they are. And that's something that in BDSP, coming around to it, I'm noticing and starting to appreciate. You know, something like the Grand Underground is like you were able to go into the Grand Underground in Pearl and Diamond, but it wasn't as extensive and it didn't look as good. And it's really fun to be able to just find random caves, different. You don't know what kind of cave you're going to run into. Well, actually, you do if you look at the map. It'll tell you kind of what type of cave. Sometimes there's like hybrid caves, which is really, really cool. Spending a lot of time down there, like catching Pokemon and stuff. That's been awesome to see Sinnoh in that way. What else in the game has been really, really cool to see? You know, walking with your Pokemon and kind of the different sprites that they put. And it's really cool. Like the attention to detail on that feature in the game is great. And it's something I really look forward to using as my team improves. And I think I'd gotten up past the Elite Four in this game. I just never did the post game, and I restarted entirely because I just wanted to have another experience at it, another crack at it. And I feel like that's something I wouldn't have done in the past with a Pokemon game, especially one that's come out like 2 years ago now.
We've talked about that. We used to do that all the time with like the older games. I feel like I have not done that with a newer one in a long time.
Yeah, and with the newer ones, I'm kind of, especially when a Pokemon game just came out, I kind of just want to like keep my progress and just compete in a sense of like, oh, I'm here already and this game just came out. But now it's like, it doesn't matter. You take it at your own pace. You enjoy it how you enjoy it. And Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, like I'm really taking my time as far as taking a different approach to playing Pokemon. Taking kind of like a Legends Arceus approach as far as like just going around and like trying to complete the Pokédex in the town that I'm in. Exploring the town, talking to the people, seeing what Pokemon live in this area. That's been a much more fulfilling playthrough than how I've played it in the past, where it's kind of been like a bit of like a Paul trainer from the anime, where it's just like, all right, I need this Gabite of this nature. Any other Gabite is like not important. Like,
yeah,
I've learned to embrace the imperfections in my Pokemon playthroughs now and appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing what my team will be like in this playthrough. And I'm in no rush to craft that team. I just know I'm going to slowly but surely make it happen.
Dude, that's awesome. I love to hear that, man. And I got to say, I'm just so happy that you gave this game another shot, man. Because I think when we talked about it, I was a little bit higher on it than you were. And as the time's gone by, I really honestly think that's the best game that's come out of Pokemon since Sword and Shield. I think it's a beautiful remake. I think it was done so well. And I'm happy that you gave it another chance because, I mean, I saw it all the way through to the end. I beat Cynthia, and I really want to go back to this game. And I want to complete the Pokédex. I'm kind of just waiting for a Switch 2. I mean, for reasons that are just personal, why I don't want to go back to it right now. But honestly, I'm really happy that you gave it another chance. I mean, for me, one of the standout features of this game is just the ability to dock it. You know, you can just play it in handheld and throw it up on the TV. And I remember just wishing you could do that as a kid. So it's just like that dream is a reality because of, you know, the Nintendo Switch. And just the outfits, man. I love the outfits. I wish there were a few more, but I'm happy there were more than one. And I love the battle animations. Like you said, or I guess the animations and the backgrounds. I love, like, whenever you're in a different location, it'll give you a different background. I feel like that is just such a welcome feature. And then, yeah, going to the underground and, like, meeting a Pokemon that you just wouldn't have seen in that game, or you wouldn't have seen till, like, way later on. It's just so awesome. Like, I remember I was at my, like, third gym, and I went down there and I caught a Swablu. I was like, yep, you're like a main on my team. And, like, just to, like, meet a Pokemon that you just might not, like, just the chance encounter in the underground was just so awesome.
Yeah, you can run into something that you probably shouldn't have ran into at that point in the game by just spending that time in the Grand Underground. That reminds me also about the Pokétch and how it was kind of like an ode to the DS in a sense, where they kept it in the corner and then you kind of pop it down and it looks like a bit of a DS. I really appreciated that. It's a bit nostalgic, and the quality of life improvements in the game as far as, like, including some different features in the Pokétch, allowing you to, like, share XP automatically. Those little quality of life improvements make the game that much more enjoyable. BDSP, man. I kind of had, like, disdain for it, but I think it was because of all the other games that I was expecting, you know, Legends Arceus, and then
they all came out so close.
They came so close together, and I felt like
it was hard to give them breathe.
Lumped them in together, and that wasn't fair to each of the individual titles. But BDSP the most, and I'm glad I've circled back on that.
Dude, I'm so happy to hear it, man. What a way to kick us off, number 5, man.
Sir, what is your number 5?
My number 5 game of the year 2024 is Smash Bros.
Really? Super Smash Brothers? That's awesome.
Super Smash Bros.
I'm so glad you picked this up, Blake. Like, you have no idea.
Dude, I honestly, man, I love this game. I had really wanted to get into a fighting game this year. I never really had, you know, that moment with a fighting game. I never really, like, felt the competitive nature, and I always, like, just felt like it was something for me. And I always watched people play from the sidelines, and I was like, damn, like, that just looks so cool. Like, I really just want to be able to, like, get in there and be competitive, you know? And it's really tough because, like, if you hop into an online match now, like, you're going up against people that have been playing this game since it came out. You're really only playing against the diehards. Only the diehards are really still here, especially when it comes to, like, online play. But I did beat a few of them, you know, and I had, like, a great time, like, learning it. Like, learning the game. I've got a couple favorites, a couple favorite characters. I gotta say, my favorite is Sora, who's like a DLC character. I was doing pretty well with Sora. Like, when I was, like, practicing, I was getting pretty good with them. And I remember, like, watching the trailer for Sora when they got announced. And I was like, I've never played Kingdom Hearts, but this is just, like, you can just tell, like, this is just such a hype moment. Like, almost everybody knows who Sora is. He's a character that has, you know, gone beyond the Disney Square Enix and Nintendo consoles, and Ah, man, I just feel like this game is just so positive. It just celebrates video games, like from all the characters that are in it, the stages, the music. And then like you go to like, we went to a couple of these conventions this year. People are just playing Smash. Like it's just such like a positive thing. And I'm like, I'm a part of this now, you know, and like I suck, but I can play Smash Bros.
Yeah.
I like kind of know my preferences. I kind of know which characters like work better for me. I have a play style, and although like I'm still like learning, I'm just so happy that like I was able to like get there. Like I'm at the table, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like one of those things where it's like the more you give to it, the better you get. And I want to try another fighting game. I really want to try Guilty Gear. That's kind of where I want to go next. Just because I feel like there might be like a more casual competitive scene where I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Smash Bros. Is just like, it's so accessible to everybody that it kind of feels like counterintuitive, but it's like if you're not extremely serious, like it's just going to be so tough. I wish they had like skill-based matchmaking. I feel like that would solve everything.
Yeah, I agree. It would solve a lot because there are some people you'll match up with and they're just on a whole nother level. But I like something you said where it's like Smash Brothers feels like a celebration of video games. And that's really what it is to me too. It's like an amalgamation of all the Nintendo characters and even some, Nintendo adjacent characters. And so you get to like really, whoever resonates with you the most, and you get to, figure out their moves and just, represent kind of your character in a sense. And it's really cool to see all the attention to detail that these fighters get, all these different characters, all these like really cool move sets, amazing animations. It's just such a beautiful game, and you can tell it's one of those titles, Blake, where like the people who are working on it love the game. They just want to keep improving it, and that's something I can say about Smash Brothers is like, since I've encountered this IP from Nintendo 64 till now, it's only improved, and it's only made me appreciate the progression of this video game. I'm so curious to see where they take it. It's a huge IP for Nintendo, and it's literally just all their characters fighting each other. It's like stupidly simple, but also rather complex too at times. Like the fighting can get really, really technical. That's also why I like appreciate being able to run into those like 1% fighters that like know how to kite you over and over and know how to like, because then you'll learn. You'll be like, okay,
like how was that even possible?
Exactly. You'll learn like something that you've played your whole life. There was something possible to do in that game that you had no idea about. That's exciting to me, and I love that they keep dropping out DLC characters. That just shows that like the support is there from the fans, and also Nintendo wants to continue to cater to us in that front. That's a nice relationship to have with Nintendo.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I guess like obviously like with the skill ceiling, like you can really come into this at any level. And I was really scared that like, like jumping in so late, like I've never really played a fighting game. Like I just like wasn't going to be able to like have a good time. And it took me a long time to like kind of figure it out and kind of feel like, okay, honestly, like I spent a lot of time just like in the training room, like truly just me, just like doing the moves. And like, I don't know, it was almost like kind of learning how to dance or like anything like that. Like the more you practice, the better you're going to get. And like to be able to like take that and like go online or, to like play with some people locally, to have that experience, it was really awesome. And it's not just Smash Bros. It's kind of like fighting games in general. Like I'm so happy to like be a part of that. And we talked about this a little on our episode where we went to Anime Con and Play NYC, but we sat down and played some Dragon Ball. I think it was like, I don't even remember what Dragon Ball was, but it was some Dragon Ball Fighter game, like Dragon Ball Fighter Z or something.
Yeah, on the Switch.
Yeah, and we were playing, like the guy that brought the Switch had like 1,000 hours, and like, yeah, I wasn't able to like compete at the level, but like I kind of like was able to not like completely embarrass myself. Like, I was able to like, all right, I know like this is when I gotta move, this is kind of when I gotta like dodge block, and this is when I gotta like get up in their face, and they were playing with me, but like I like at least kind of knew what was going on, and I feel like they were obviously like on another level. now like I really want to like watch Evo. I want to get into some more fighting games. And actually also like one of my buddies from my childhood, shout out to Robert. I visited him over the summer, and it was actually his birthday like 2 days ago. So happy birthday. Actually yesterday. Happy birthday, Robert.
Happy birthday, Robert.
But I was visiting him in his house, and he had Melee, like the first iteration from the GameCube.
Oh man.
Was that the first iteration, or was there
the Nintendo 64? They had the original Smash Bros.
So this was the second. This was the follow-up. This was the sophomore slump. I'm just kidding. But like just to, I'm sorry. But just to see like how that played on the GameCube controller, you know, because people play, like if you go to any kind of competition, people are still playing on the GameCube controller. And like to see how that translated, and like obviously to see how it felt on the controller, like just to like go back in time, see the history, and then be like, oh my gosh, like I know this map. Like this map, obviously it came from, you know, Melee, but like I'm like I've played tens of hours on this map specifically, you know. I'm just like, man, like this is just crazy. I had a great time, and like because of like knowing my playstyle, I was able to like pick up different characters and like play with them and like still be competitive. And oh man, I honestly like just such a rewarding gaming experience, and I'm part of it now, man. I'm part of the fighting game community, so I'm excited to
You are welcome,
see what's
Blake.
next, man.
Welcome, Blake. We definitely got to run some Smash tournaments, man. That's essential.
Yeah, dude, we got to do something, and I need a coach, so let me know if you want to train.
I got you.
You could be my White Wolf, or was it White Fang?
White Fang.
Or hold on.
Kakashi.
Kakashi.
Dude, Kakashi has
He was
so
the
much
son
lore.
of the White Fang. Yeah.
Kakashi has so much lore, man. All he wants to do is read his dirty novels.
Bro, I love Kakashi, man. Can I do like a little spoiler just so like you know where I'm at? It's like minor. It's not like a big deal.
Yeah, go for it.
He like just went to the campfire with his dad and just came back.
Okay, so you just learned about the second Hokage.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. Second Hokage is cool. The Hokage lore is just amazing. They're like the creme de la creme of ninja. And it's cool to see kind of the impact they have on that ninja world. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Oh man, such like an incredible manga, man. All right, well, let's go on to your number 4, man.
All right, so moving into my number 4, we're going to go with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Let me turn on my chainsaw really quickly. This is.
I thought he was about to do it. He like reached down. He had like the confidence on his face. I was like, oh my god, he brought a fucking chainsaw.
Nah, man, this game is like, it's grown on me so much, and the community is so active on this game. Like, it's just.
That's crazy.
They never stop. And I can see why. It's a simple game. They're not trying to do too much. It's an asymmetrical survival horror game. So you have the killers and you have the victims, and the killers have more abilities than the victims. But the victims almost always are better at the game than the killers. From my experience playing Public Match, there's just some victims that are just escaping within the first 5 minutes and helping everyone else escape. And so even though it's an asymmetrical survival horror game, it seems like more people are leaning towards the victim side because it's a bit more fun, and they've gotten like really, really good at it. And so it makes the killer's job even harder. And so the developer has been releasing more DLCs for killers because they're noticing people don't really play that as much. And so they want to incentivize it by putting out these DLCs. And it's cool to see how these new characters kind of shake up the environment in the game. It's something that I really appreciate getting on Texas after 2-3 months and seeing like there's a whole new killer and they have this whole new set of abilities.
They're still updating it?
Yeah, they're still updating it.
Damn.
And I now have to adjust my game a little bit as a victim, or I might want to check out that new killer and what their abilities are and how they play. There's so many different types of interactions you can have in Texas. It's really bound by no limits. The game is like, There's so many funny moments that I have playing with friends or just playing in a random match, like spectating people and some of the decisions they choose to make. It's definitely one of those games that like you get the most of in a dark room. Like it gives you kind of that like, you know, kind of that Halloween feel. It's a great game to play around that time. Yeah, man. Who knew that that IP could live on through a video game like this? It's interesting to watch and it's fun to be a part of. And I'm grateful to be a part of that community. Kind of like you are with Smash. It's like, it's so niche and it's something I never would have expected myself to be a part of. But I'm here and I'm enjoying it and I want to see kind of where this goes. In a sense, you know, it's something I see myself always enjoying. I think in the future, I'd like kind of a VR experience of it. I know that sounds...
Oh my gosh.
I know that sounds insane, but I mean, I have that much fun playing Texas. I think I'd try it out. So yeah, man. Number 4.
That's crazy, dude.
Definitely looking forward to playing this some more in 2025.
Okay. Dude, I don't have much to say on this. I mean, I've never played this game, but it's obviously important to you. I mean, this has made your top 5 2 years in a row. I have a New Year's resolution for you. For 2025, I'm going to buy this game so we can play it.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. You got to see.
I got to do it, man. I said it on the pod.
I'll bring Matt. I'll bring Matt along so that he can make the spot hot.
Make the spot hot. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, dude, I'm excited. I mean, you've talked about it so much, and I really just want to give you the chance to celebrate it. So I'm glad that this made your top 5 this year, and I'm excited to play it with you in the future, man.
I'm stoked, dude. I can't wait for you to see what it's like.
I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie.
It is scary. You should be. It is kind of a scary game. At times it's a bit much, but you kind of adjust. Once you like learn the ropes and you know how to kind of sneak around a killer, kind of how to use your abilities, you'll be alright. But what's your number 4?
My number 4 game of the year for 2024 is Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, okay.
Which is kind of crazy. I think I've talked about this before on the pod, but I have a controller.
Wait, which one? Mario Kart 8?
Yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Gotcha.
I played this on the Switch this year. I mean, like we've talked about, I had a really busy year. And I kind of just found myself, like, just wanting, like, a chill, easy game to play. Like, something that, like, didn't take up a lot of brain power and I could just, like, have fun. And I've talked about this a little bit on the show before, but I have this controller called the 8BitDo arcade stick. And it's just like the left analog stick. So the left analog stick is kind of like an arcade stick. And it's got buttons on like the A, B, X, Y, and the 4 bumpers. And it's kind of laid out kind of like how you would have seen in like an arcade.
Gotcha.
So it's 8 buttons and it's an arcade stick. And you don't really use the right joystick in Mario Kart, I think, unless you're looking back. But you can hold, I think, like the right bumper or the left bumper and look back.
Yeah.
Like the other one, and that's how you look back as well. So you lose no functionality by playing it this way. And I just had such a fun time just like hooking up my arcade stick and just like booting up Mario Kart and then just like having like a good time. And if you get like gold in all the tracks for like a CC, you get to see the credits. So I saw the credits for the 50cc and 100cc, and I had like such a chill time just like playing Mario Kart, man. And just like,
it definitely is one of those chill games, man, where it's like you don't have to think anything at all. You just load up a Grand Prix and you just get to it, and there's like 5 or 6 races in a Grand Prix. It's like a tournament, and then you try and get first or second or third place, and then you unlock the next Grand Prix. So it's not like a game where like you have to like complete all these different challenges to unlock the next progression. It's really just like you just have to play through it. You just have to experience it, and then you'll get every map, and then slowly but surely your racing skills get better and your abilities to use these items while racing get better, man. And I want to race you, dude. I want to see how you race. It's been a while since I played Mario Kart, but it's one of those games where I'm always down to play because it's really just that fun, that easy to get into.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to say like I'm good because everyone like there's always like this people like, oh, I'm really good at Mario Kart, and then it's like they just get smoked by like people that are actually good at Mario Kart. But I've kind of gone like a full 180 this year where I was like, man, like I'm just so. I guess this will kind of tell you where I'm at. I've been like, man, I'm so sick of getting bananas. Like I'm always in first. Like getting the bananas, like it just doesn't do anything for you. Till like now I'm where I'm like, give me the banana. Just give me a banana. Like I can fuck shit up with a banana, man. So you're in front of me, behind me, like whatever. Like if give me a banana, I'm golden.
Yeah, banana is a mean weapon, man. If you know how to use it, it can really mess somebody up. So if you're just joining us and you don't know what a banana is in Mario Kart, it's literally the shell of a banana.
The peel.
The peel, you throw it.
Yeah,
and
the shell of a banana.
The cars drive over it and they lose traction. And it can throw off somebody in a race a lot.
It like costs you like 3 seconds basically because you get locked into this animation where your car spins out of control.
Yeah, and that's one of the funner parts of Mario Kart is the ability to kind of throw off other people on the race. It reminds me of like whitewater rafting when you're like going on a river and you're trying to like throw people off of their mojo, for lack of a better word, and that's a really fun aspect of Mario Kart that I enjoy doing. Man, that's one of those titles where it's never going to go anywhere, you know? It's like
no,
Mario Kart will always be there and it'll always be fun. Like,
it's just such a fun game to play with anyone, you know?
Yeah, it really is. That's what Nintendo does well. It's like those kind of easy go-to games that people just keep buying because they're that universal and they're really fun. Mario Kart is definitely one of my favorite IPs. I remember playing Double Dash on the GameCube.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Like having a cart with two people and you had someone that sit on the back and you could swap them out, which I think they have maybe races like that, or they still include
So you can get 2 items in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You can get 2 items, but you can't swap between them.
Damn.
I wish, honestly, what I want to see out of a Mario Kart 9 is you can get 2 items, you can swap between them.
Yeah, they should bring back the Double Dash mode, man. That was really, really cool. Like being able to just have someone solely focused on like messing up the other drivers and then just have someone solely focused on driving. You could just like switch it out. That was really, really cool. And the gliders are a nice touch that I like.
Oh, yeah, the gliders are a lot
But
of
I
fun.
have a question for you, Blake. I want to gauge just how good of a driver you are in Mario Kart. How often do you drift?
Almost every turn.
Okay.
But like with the fight pad, right? Like so if you're on the arcade stick, it's so much easier to do because you can have like your whole hand. Honestly, I feel like this arcade stick has made me like a better at Mario Kart. Like I feel like if you gave me a controller, I'd be shit. Because like I basically all the time that I've spent playing this year, it's been with the arcade stick. You basically have a whole hand on the fight stick. So if you want to turn like a little, like it's very easy to do that. And it's like one finger is basically like a click of a space bar, but with your index finger. So if you click that, that's how you drift. Because it's like the right bumper and like the right bumper's at the top of the arcade stick. So it's truly like the tap of a button. And like I've gotten to the point where I'm coming around the corner, you just tap it and you kind of like do like a little bit of a jump before you turn. And like kind of getting like that animation for like, you know what I mean?
Dude, I'm obsessed with drifting. Like I just drift until my wheels turn like blue or green. You know what I mean? I charge up the drift and then just let it go and charge up the drift and let it go. That's the kind of Mario Kart driver I am right now. It's just drifting away, man.
Yeah, we should definitely play, man. And I got to give a shout out to my sister. She is Mario Kart, and that's like something to where like we'll like just FaceTime each other and we'll just like chat and just play Mario Kart. Like Mario Kart is such an easy game to like chat to while you're playing it. So, dude, hit me up, man. I'm always down for some Mario Kart.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that, bro.
All right, dude. Well, I think we're going to take a quick break. It's honestly crazy. We've been going for an hour, man. Like, we thought this was going to be a quicker game of the year. We're only doing 5. Like, we guess we jinxed ourselves. So we're going to take a quick little break, and then we'll come back with top 3.
Awesome. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Andrew. I'm so honored to be on the Sticky Buttons podcast here for the end of the year. I've appeared for the last few years on the podcast to talk about PAX, which I'm so excited to attend every year in Boston. And for this past year, when I was on the podcast and talked about PAX, I talked a lot about Final Fantasy XIV and how playing it reminded me of my time playing World of Warcraft when I was a kid, and how it was starting to get me back into those MMO-type games. And I played a lot of Final Fantasy after that because I was inspired by seeing it at PAX East, and then I thought to myself, why not just play World of Warcraft? And so I did. The War Within expansion launched in late August, and man, did I get into it. And for that reason, World of Warcraft is going to be my game of the year. It's celebrating its 20th anniversary, and I just got to tell you, it's never been better. I played it probably 10, 15 years ago. Loved it so much, and when I got back into it, I just felt that same intense rush of joy. I played through all the campaign for the War Within, the latest expansion, as well as the dungeons and raids. It's got me watching Twitch streamers. I've really just had a wonderful time playing World of Warcraft and started a brand new character and just got into it so hard. That's my game of the year this year. And for anyone who's walked away from World of Warcraft, maybe in the last 10 or so years, and you're considering getting back in, now is the time. I really had a blast. Some other games that I discovered this year, I was a little late to the party to Astro Bot, which of course won Game of the Year at the Game Awards. Sony really did make a better Mario game than Nintendo did this year, and I've just started playing it, so by the time I get to the end of it, maybe it will surpass World of Warcraft for potentially one of my favorite games of 2024, but it badly needs a co-op mode. I had so much fun playing Sackboy with my girlfriend, and all I wanted to do was play it co-op, this Astrobot game, but it doesn't have that mode right now. So I think as soon as that's added in, that could really shoot to the top of my list. Another game that I have discovered this year, a little late to the party, is Baldur's Gate 3, and that really spawned from my time loving World of Warcraft and wanting to play something a little more gamey, a little more to the grit of what is a video game. And of course that came out last year and is a worldwide phenomenon, so excited to play more of that as we head into the next year. I have slowed down a little bit on the game of the year that I told you all about last year, which was of course Marvel Snap, the mobile game. I really loved it and got so addicted to it at the beginning of this year, but kind of fell off. Once you reach a certain point, it seems like the game really can't keep up with you unless you start pouring money into it, which was sad because I really did love Marvel Snap, and I do pick it up occasionally from time to time. The Marvel game that has gotten my attention, though, is Marvel Rivals, which is, of course, their Overwatch killer. It's really unbalanced right now, but man, is it fun, and I'm excited to see where that one goes. I can't talk about a game of the year without mentioning a tabletop game that I have gotten way into in the last few months, which is called Scythe. It came out in 2016, so maybe not the game of this year, but if you love resource management and you've got some time to really pour into a fun game, I can't recommend Scythe more. It's got a lot of little pieces. The directions can get a little complicated, but man, once you play it, it is so much fun. And because of my love of resource management that's been ignited by Scythe and even World of Warcraft and some of those other games I've started playing, I've had my eye on Frostpunk 2, which I know came out this year. Got some pretty good reviews. I've watched some streams of it, so that might be the next thing that I purchase and really dive into a game like that. As I look toward the future, the game I'm probably most excited about is what Naughty Dog just announced. It's called Intergalactic. It's their brand new IP. I don't believe there's a release date yet, but I'm very hopeful it could come out in 2025. It looks like so much fun. If you haven't seen it, look up the trailer. They debuted it here recently, and I think that might be the next big thing, and it might be what Bethesda was going for recently, but I trust Naughty Dog a lot more to pull it off. That does it for me here. I really appreciate being asked to participate here in the end of the year, and I hope that you all have a wonderful, happy, and healthy 2025.
Top three, man. Top three.
Top three, man. Holy moly. Top three of 2024. Should I kick it right back up?
I think so, man. I think you should do it.
All right. Let me get right into my number three. That's going to be Minecraft.
Let's go.
Dude, it's been a great year for Minecraft because lots of other games. I wasn't playing new games, but also it's like an escape from a lot of different video game experiences. Nothing like Minecraft, and just the childhood nostalgia I have with Minecraft. I've spent so many hours in Minecraft. I've created countless worlds. And now that we have our realm for the podcast, that's mainly what I've been playing this year. And it's funny how no matter like where I'm at in my life, I can just dive into a Minecraft world and a survival mode especially. Never been too much of a big creative guy in Minecraft, but survival is really fun, just kind of building yourself up and being able to sustain yourself in this world where you have zombies and all types of mobs. Something I really appreciate about Minecraft are all the title updates. They're consistently updating this title, and I remember like years ago being like a much more avid Minecraft player and just waiting for the title updates where like they're going to drop like an ocelot or they're going to give us a new biome. And
They've got ocelots?
they do.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
if you tame a cat, they help you keep creepers away. Yeah.
Okay. The more you know, man.
Yeah. There's little things in Minecraft like that. It's like it's all connected. There's not one like item in Minecraft that doesn't have a use or that you can use it to do other things in survival mode. It's really fun, and it like allows you to kind of develop that skill of like being crafty, thinking on your feet, adaptability. Like these are all things I've learned in Minecraft, and also just being able to just start from scratch, right, and build myself up. I feel like that Minecraft can be attributed. Well, I got to give Minecraft credit for building my learning muscles, because like I said, like there's always changes to this game. You'll find yourself trying to do new things in the game that you have no idea how to do, but there's an amazing community online, and they'll show you probably a video on it, and you can learn how to redstone things, you can learn how to cook some potions, you can learn how to travel, different dimensions within Minecraft. It's just such an expansive game, and a game that I see myself playing for the rest of my life, and two, a game that is really fun to share with friends. On the realm we can have, I believe, up to 10 people at once.
Yeah, I think it's 10.
Which is really, really cool. I've never experienced that on our realm, but it's always nice to, have multiple people playing with you on your survival world and kind of, trading or maybe even fighting. Like I've had some friends that join my realm and they just want to grief. Like they're just Minecraft griefers. And that's okay, because then that just means I have to prepare myself a little more, have backup materials, be able to kind of, deal with that situation. It's fun. Minecraft is a fun challenge, and I look forward to coming back to it next year.
That's awesome, man. And I guess I just want to say, just right off the bat, if you want to get access to our Minecraft server, or our Minecraft realm, you can get that via our Patreon. It's the pinned post on our Patreon, and you can get that access to that for as little as $1 a month. We have a Discord, so if you want to join that and hop on with us, you can join that and then just ping us and shoot us a message. Let us know you're getting on, and if we're available, we'll hop on too. But dude, that's incredible to hear that this made your top 3. I definitely saw you playing a couple times, and I was like, man, I don't want to play Minecraft right now. But I was like, good for him for playing, man. And I'm just impressed more with Minecraft that like you're able to return to this and like still have that experience. You know what I mean? Like that really says a lot that you can come back to it and still have that experience. I feel like I want to kind of talk about that kind of experience of like revisiting something with my number 2, which we'll talk about later. But I had a very similar experience this year where I went back to a game. And I feel like, I can only speak for myself, but that was really special for me. And it kind of sounds like you had that experience where, you took the time to like revisit something, and it did kind of give you a, that kind of similar experience.
Definitely. It's fun to see just how I changed over time as a Minecraft survival player and the challenges that I'm willing to take on. I feel like in the past, I wasn't as adventurous or curious about the game and kind of what I could do. Minecraft is one of those games where it goes really deep if you want to, but only if you want to.
Yeah, you can meet it at whatever level.
Exactly. If you don't want to, you can just, have a chill experience. But I was learning about beacons and trying to figure out how to get those going, and building.
I don't even know what those are.
Beacons are pretty much like, you can build like a gold beacon. So you have to get gold blocks and build like a pyramid, right? And go up, and then at the top you put the beacon. And then once you have your beacon, it gives you an ability for a specific area. So if you put a beacon on your base, let's say, it'll give you plus 10% movement speed when you're in this area that the beacon covers. Or it'll give you like 2 extra hearts or stuff like that. Like, beacons are a really cool feature.
Can you make a beacon underground?
Yeah, you can make a beacon anywhere.
Dude, I feel like that just gave me such an idea. Like, I've never thought, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, what if you built like a gold pyramid under your house?
Exactly.
Like, that just feels like some Illuminati shit that like I want to do.
And now when you're in your house, you have like extra abilities and stuff. It's such a cool feature that like you probably wouldn't know about unless you got like really far into survival, to the point where you're like, I have like all these gold bars. I don't know what to do with them. It's like you can build beacons. And Elytra,
so cool.
Learning about Elytra. I just found out about Elytra this year.
I don't know what that is.
And that's like wings. You can fly in Minecraft.
Shut up. How do you make those?
You can fly in Minecraft. It's just like a pair of wings. I think you have to kill a specific mob for some parts for it.
Is it like mechanical wings?
Yeah, they're kind of like gliders. So you need like fireworks to like
shoot yourself up.
And then once you're in the air, the Elytra can help you glide in the air and just go anywhere you want to. And it's super useful for the Nether. Like, because the Nether has like all these different platforms that don't necessarily connect all the time. There's a lot of lava in between.
Did they have that when you beat it? I guess you just said you just found out about it, so.
And I've always played this game on the console. I've never played it on the PC, because on the PC, it's even like more ahead. There's way more title updates than there are on the console, which is something I could see myself getting into. It's like,
the PC
Minecraft
version?
Yeah, and just seeing like what is possible there. What in Minecraft have I not done yet in my 10 plus years playing it? And that's like something that keeps bringing me back to the game and keeps me in the game, is like, oh, I need to check this feature out. I've never done that.
I feel like you probably haven't had the ability to mod it.
Actually, I have. I've run some mods on the Xbox because Microsoft owns it. So when you run it on the Xbox, like, you can kind of
you can add mods.
Yeah, add a couple mods, and I've modded like the PvP.
Did that change your experience a lot?
I'm not a huge modder, Blake. Like,
I guess I'm sorry, I cut you off. Would you say that you modded into it?
I've modded like PvP into it, like when you're fighting like specific mobs, like they're stronger, or I've modded like little things that make the game like more interesting. But in general, I'm not a modding person, even if it's like available to me, and I'll try it. But I won't play a survival playthrough with mods because they don't allow you to get trophies. And so, also, I did the same thing in Skyrim, where it's like, you can mod the crap out of Skyrim. But I just prefer like the vanilla, like just the regular game, the way it was intended to play. That's just the kind of gamer I am right now. Maybe that'll change. But if survival in Minecraft specifically, I just like to keep it like however they designed it. I want to master this world, and then.
Well, you can add mods that are just purely aesthetic.
That's true. I put on some texture packs. I like putting on some texture packs, seeing what my world looks like, different textures. I've put on behavior packs. I've tried things out, and that's one thing about Minecraft that you can do, is you can just start up your world with a new texture pack, a new mod, new mashup pack. That was a really cool feature I appreciated about Minecraft, is like the mashup packs. Like, they'll put up like a Star Wars mashup pack where
I need to get some of the Star Wars ones. Like, I was really interested in those, and I was like, am I really going to use that? And now I'm like, if next time I get into Minecraft, I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, and you can like build anything you want in this world. It's really like a sandbox. That's what I love most about it. It's the possibilities are endless in Minecraft, and you can never get too old for Minecraft, I feel. It's just like, definitely. There's always something to do. And if you feel like you've got it all, I guarantee you there's something else that you're missing. It's just one of those games.
Yeah, I've bought this game a couple times over, and I may just have to get it again on Steam. I actually want to touch on two things really quick. One, I think we're going to be talking more about mods in 2025, man. I just got a gut feeling that maybe we'll be talking about that in a future episode. And number 2, man, there's actually this mode. It's in Fortnite, but they took it from Minecraft. And I guess this can be an honorable mention. This was like the highlight of me playing Fortnite this year was this mode called Bed Wars.
Bed Wars. No, I haven't heard of that.
I think it was originally a Minecraft mod, or basically like, I guess I'll kind of tell you, I don't necessarily know what it was in Minecraft, but apparently it was like originally a Minecraft mod, or just like a mode in Minecraft. But basically, this Fortnite mode is there's like 4 teams, they spawn into this map, everybody's completely separated out, everybody's on these like standalone islands, and it starts as like a clicker game where you have to like use your pickaxe to like hit this thing, and then you get wood, and then you gotta like build wood out, and then like once you like build out to another island, you can hit that thing and it'll drop diamonds. Then, you know, if you go over and hit this other thing, it'll drop gold, and you can bring those back to your main island, and you use those to kind of like upgrade your base. And if you die, you respawn. But if somebody kills your bed, you're done. You can't respawn.
Damn.
And it's just like crazy because like if you get to like when you start, everybody's got pickaxes, and it's like teams of 3, and then by the end of it, people have like miniguns and helicopters, and you're just like, you can't move the bed, but you're just like, oh my god, like this whole base of people, like, wait a sec, there's no bed here. Like, was this another team that like took over this base and was like defending it, and their bed's actually like way over there? You know what I mean? It's just like, it was just chaos, man.
I don't know why, but when I'm thinking about Bed Wars, I'm thinking about like the Nether and how you can't sleep. And like if you place a bed, it explodes. So I'm thinking like people.
Oh, really?
People just fighting wars with just beds in the Nether, like popping stuff off.
Dude, if you got time after this, man, we could hop into some Bed Wars. I don't know if we'll have time, but dude, Bed Wars is insane. It's honestly, I think I'd play that over base Fortnite right now. I haven't touched Fortnite in months. Been so happy about that, but Bed Wars, man.
Bed Wars. See, and that's the thing about Minecraft is like there are so many iterations and fun mini games, and like sometimes I'll find myself on YouTube just watching like Prison Break Minecraft video, like people just playing like Prison Break stuff, or people just playing like a competitive survival server where like all of those survival players are like amazing at playing survival,
and they're just like against each other.
Yeah, they're just against each other and like all these factions build and stuff. So the possibilities are endless with Minecraft. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what the future holds for me in Minecraft and just Minecraft in general, where they take the game.
That's exciting, man. We got to get you in the Minecraft in a VR headset.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a real possibility now, especially with my PlayStation. I can get a PSVR and just get in there, man.
Damn. Yeah, dude. Honestly, like, this is the perfect time of year for Minecraft. I always get into Minecraft this time of year. Just because it's, like, such a cozy game. You just want to hang out.
It really does calm you down. Like, it's one of those games you can just chill out. Have a good time. Except if it's hardcore survival.
Yeah, that's a little bit stressful.
If you die in hardcore, that's it. You're done. The world gets deleted.
That's crazy. Imagine, like...
You just spend hours and hours.
I'm not there, man. I'm not at that point.
But that's a fun video I'll watch too. Like one of these amazing survival players, just seeing like where they can get to in hardcore and like the mistakes they'll make and stuff. And people trying to get to the end, like actually beat the game in hardcore.
People have done it, right?
Yeah, they have, which is like super impressive. But they've done it.
Do you think you could ever do it in hardcore mode?
I think I could do it. I would probably need some help. I don't think I could do it by myself ever. But I think I could do it with a team.
Maybe I'll be on that dream roster someday. All right, man. You ready for my number 3?
Yeah, man. Let's get into your top 3. Top 3.
Right. Top 3. My number 3 game of the year is Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Oh, man. This one, I'm surprised I didn't put this one on my list. But I love this game, man. So tell me what your experience has been with it. Why'd you add it to the list?
Dude, this game has been such a joy Just like having like a card game back in my life. I was such a huge fan of Marvel Rivals when it came out. We talked about this so many times, like just wanting to be in a card game and just like wanting to have like a healthy relationship with a card game. Like it's so hard to do it because they're obviously like getting the cards is random. It's like inherently predatory. This is any card game, not just Pokemon TCG Pocket. You know what I mean? There's so many where it's like Hearthstone. Heard like great things about Hearthstone, owned by Blizzard, but like I just like couldn't get into it. It's like I know that like they want you to spend money in order to be competitive. I was gonna say I wanted to get into Magic, but now that I've gotten into Pokemon TCG Pocket, I'm kind of like, man, maybe Magic's a game for me. But I'm keeping arm's distance right now. Like, I actually just bought some Yu-Gi-Oh cards this past week.
No way.
Yeah, I bought 3 single cards. I think I have them right here. Let me grab them.
That's amazing, man. Are you building a deck to duel me, Blake?
No. These are foreign cards too, so I can't even read them. But I just like looked through some cards and I just thought it was awesome. So actually, there's like a local shop I gotta take you to, man, and they sell these. Oh geez, that's one of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I got.
It's in Japanese.
Yeah, they're in Japanese.
You can't read that effect.
No, you can't. I really like this one. It kind of reminded me of like a Frieren.
I could see that.
I thought that one looked sick. And then this, actually, I'm sorry, I bought 4 cards. And then this is just like a person, they kind of just look like a mage, but they've got like a minigun. It's like a magic minigun. So cool. And then there's just like, I don't know, this person with a sword on like a black and white card.
It's a trap card. That's awesome.
Oh, trap card. Oh my god. What's the blue? Do you remember what the blue is?
Blue cards are like it's a special type of summon. So I believe those are called arcane summons. A ritual summon. I believe those are ritual summon cards. Do you have it? Let me see.
Yeah, that's the one with the minigun.
Oh, that's purple, dude. That's a fusion card. Yeah, that's a fusion card. So what that card does, you have to get like 2 specific cards, and then you have to use a polymerization or a different type of spell that allows you to fuse them into that fusion.
Bro, card games are so fucking sick, man.
Yu-Gi-Oh is like, man, I can nerd out in Yu-Gi-Oh. And I definitely resonate with you, like when you say like the worst version of you is into a card game.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this off air, but I just like, I want to get into Magic so bad. Like, I feel like if I was into Magic, I'd be so happy, but it's also like, I feel like that would just be like the worst version of me. Like, the worst version of me is buying packs regularly, like building decks. Like, to bring it back to Pokemon TCG Pocket, like, I literally have a spreadsheet. Like, I have a spreadsheet right now.
Have you updated it with the Mythical Island Pokemon?
Yeah, I have. Which, if you're tuning in as of today, we haven't talked about this. I didn't want to bring it up because I knew we were going to talk about it. And as of today, they just released like a whole new pack of Pokemon cards.
68 new cards.
68 new cards. I opened one single pack and then I kind of looked at everything was in it and I'm holding off. I'm not going to open that pack for a little bit, which is, I know it's going to be kind of crazy, but oh my gosh, dude. Okay, so let me just break it down for you right now. So I really wanted to get the Mew card before we recorded today, which in order to get Mew, you have to get the original 151. I am 4 fucking cards away.
Oh my god,
so
dude.
Close.
You were right there.
Right there, man. And I've got like, it's just like, I've got all the hard cards. This is just like, just the easy card. Like, I've got 4 easy cards. I've got to get the Victreebel, Flareon, Jolteon, and Kangaskhan. Those are the 4 I need. You probably have all 4 of them.
Yeah, no, I don't have Kangaskhan, and I don't have Jolteon. Those seem like, pretty niche Pokemon. You really think just by opening those packs, you're just going to keep opening them until you get them?
Well, yeah, so actually I've broken it down even further. So 3 of those cards are exclusive to Charizard packs, and 1 is exclusive to Pikachu. As of last week, I had 7 cards that I needed. Actually, I'm sorry, I think I had like 12 cards that I needed. But I had enough pack points where I was able to like knock out the Mewtwo. To where I have no Pokemon, like I can get Mew without opening any more Mewtwo packs. I only need these 4 cards. So I guess I just gotta wait, man. I just gotta be patient. I have enough, there's like the shop currency. I have enough of the shop currency to where I could buy the hourglasses and then I could get a 10 pack. But I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to try and chip away and maybe get like one or two more of these. And if I can get lucky and get like one of these with a wonder pick, one of these cards with just like my normal opening, like I should be able to like buy the last one with like the pack points. Which I feel like we haven't talked about this game at all. It's a card game. It's a Pokemon card game you got on your phone, man. I'm so far deep into this, man. And like it's not just like the collecting aspect that's a lot of fun. It's also like building the decks and like having competitive decks and like fighting people. And the reason that this has been so fun for me to like hop in at the beginning is like you're actually able to like make a competitive deck. And it's like one of those things where it's like we talked about this a little bit last time we talked about like card games. They do this thing where it's like they have to make new cards. It's kind of like this like never ending cycle that just like kills card games and makes them like terrible for the people that play them. So in order for them to like sell more packs of or like whatever card game it is, whether it's like Magic or Pokemon, they have to put out new cards that have new abilities, new synergies, you know, new abilities. They have to continually add to the game with new cards. And in order to do that, you obviously have to buy the new cards. And with Pokemon, for example, the actual physical Pokemon trading card game, the rule that they decided to go with is you can use any Pokemon cards. So if you have like a Gen 1 Pokemon card, you can still use it in a competitive match, you know, tomorrow. And like they've reprinted a couple cards that have different abilities, you know, so some Pikachus from whatever set are more valuable than whatever Pikachu just because of the ability that it has. And, you know, same with Magic, or I guess it's kind of different with Magic, where Magic, they actually like they remove cards from like the competitive play, so they like publish rules on what cards are included and not included, and like that just sucks. Like imagine like having this like building this deck and you've got this like crazy card that like you just really like for whatever reason, like, and like it's kind of one of those things where it's like no card is inherently like better than any other card, you know what I mean? It just kind of happens to be like the balance of the game and what your opponent's deck has, and there's random variables like you draw the card that you need or whatever. So just like I feel like that just like would suck if you had this card that you really loved and you build your whole deck around, and then like, you know, the company just like publishes it like, hey, you can't use this card anymore in competitive play. And I don't know, man. I mean, card games are just not accessible to people. And I feel like that I haven't really done a good job at saying what like Pokemon TCG has done right, but they only have this like base set of like 200 cards right now. So I can make like half a dozen decks that are completely different and just have like so much fun. Because like they're all competitive. Like if you build a good deck with, you know, I've got like a Mewtwo deck, I've got like a Charizard deck, I've got like all kinds of different decks. Like I've got a Mewtwo deck where I've got definitely like Gengar decks, man. Gengar decks, nobody else is running Gengar, and dude, I love Gengar, man. So he's like Gengar's the MVP of this podcast, but also Pokemon TCG podcast.
I think I have a Gengar. I mean, I was just about to ask, what's your favorite deck? But it seems like you just answered that.
Gengar Mewtwo, man. Gengar Mewtwo is really good. Actually, I just got a Moltres EX, so I'm really excited to try some fire, like a fire deck. Because I was running like an Arcanine EX deck, because like that was the only fire EX card that I had. I named it my Zuko deck, which I thought was awesome.
Fire Nation.
Yeah, the Fire Nation. But then I just made a new fire deck, actually right before we started. And it's got Charizard. Well, I mean, it's got the Charm, all the evolutions of Charizard. It doesn't have a Charizard EX card in it, I don't think. Oh, it does. I have it. Basically, I have one Charizard EX. I've got Magmar, Ninetales, and... Wait, hold on a second. Is it Ninetales or might... I've been reading a lot of Naruto, man. Is that the right Pokemon?
Ninetales?
Am I thinking of Naruto?
You've been reading a lot of Ninetales is a real Pokemon.
No,
and,
yeah, okay. I was like losing my mind for a second.
Ninetales Jinchuriki.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second. So yeah, I have Vulpix. Yeah, Vulpix, Ninetales, Magmar, Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, and Moltres EX. But yeah, one Charizard EX. So that's and I named that Fire Nation Attack.
It's amazing just how much fun you can have in this game, and I like how accessible it is. The decks are only 20 cards each. I wonder what it's like in the real card game.
They're a lot more. I think they're like 30 or 40.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm not as good at the battling. I'm a bit discouraged, to be honest, because Naomi's always beating me at the game. Like,
Don't play Naomi. Play random people.
I do play random people, and I fare, like, pretty decently. I've been working on my decks pretty seriously, because I'm tired of Naomi cooking me up in that game. Man. She just loves to talk her crap, dude. And then she'll be like, just fight me right now. Fight me right now. I'm like, Naomi, you already know how this is going to go. I don't want to fight you.
Just got to get a better deck, man.
I do, man. I got to work on it. I do. I have a lot of cards. Like, I do have a lot of cards. I just don't know how to piece together a good 20.
Can I tell you something that I feel like I've seen a lot of people do, and I feel like I can see it in people that I'm playing, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to beat you because I see you're doing this. I feel like they just have too many cards. They've got, like, too many Pokemon cards. Like, I feel like I normally only have 2 or 3 Pokemon max in my deck.
Wait, what do you mean? Like, two different types of Pokemon?
Yeah, like for example, like my Mewtwo deck that like did really good. I've got Gengar and Drowsy. Those are my only 2 Pokemon that are like basic, and then I've got the Mewtwo EX.
Wow. You could tell by how much we're talking about this game that we're absorbed into Pocket. Like, it's just, it really just, it gets you. And I like how you started it as far as like the card game is like a healthy relationship with the card game. Like, this game kind of forces you in a sense to have a healthy relationship because you only get 2 packs in a day. And
yeah, even if you spend money and buy it, like there is a max amount of cards that you can buy. And I mean, honestly, that is thanks to regulation because it's basically gambling. Like the line that this toes between like regulation, gambling, and like a card game is very tight. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see that there's already an app for Pocket, for the card game rather. But then they went and made like kind of a Pocket version of the app, which is like,
yeah,
for people who maybe aren't as into the card game, but they might want to check it out. It's been a lot of fun. I still remember that guy I ran into GameStop, and he was watching a real Pokemon card fight. Like they had like 40, 50 card decks. I told him about Pocket, and he was like, oh yeah, like that's huge, but I play this one. I play the trading card game, like the original one. And Blake was telling me he had an experience with it, but you actually have to like, that one, you really have to like buy the packs and scan them in. And
yeah, I thought we talked about this on the show, although honestly, like I feel like it was just one of those things where it's like I just fucking rambled about card games for like 30 minutes. But basically, I had somebody gift me like a ton of the packs for that other game. So they do have another app for like the original Pokemon trading card game. And that includes all of the Pokemon cards that have existed. And if you buy like a real physical pack of Pokemon cards, if you go and buy that, you get this QR code on the back. Or it's a card that has a QR code on the back, and you can scan that into the app, and then you get like a digital pack. It doesn't match one for one, like it's completely random. And you just get like another random collection of Pokemon cards. So somebody had gifted me over 100 of those. And I scanned all those in. It was a pain in the ass. It took over an hour to scan in these 100 QR codes. And at the end of it, man, I did not have a deck. I couldn't make a deck out of the cards that I had. Like, I couldn't make a deck, let alone a competitive deck. And I was just like, that is crazy, because each of these packs costs like in between $6 and $10. So imagine dropping like $100 and you were just nowhere close. Like nowhere even like remotely close to being able to even build a deck. And at that point, I was just like, I'm out. I don't have the funds for this. I don't have the patience. And I just don't want this to be the only game I play. You know what I mean?
right.
And I was just getting, like, they give you like rental decks and stuff. I was just getting smacked by those because it's like people had like built up their own collections. They had made their own decks. And also like the matches were just not fun because they would last like 30 minutes. Like, it was crazy. It was just too much. It's honestly, the game's just so inaccessible to anyone. And, you know, there's such a fervor for Pokemon cards. Like, it really sucks that the game sucks, in my opinion. I think that the original Pokemon trading card game sucks. So I'm so happy they have like an easier Pocket version for me to enjoy. and I'm having an amazing time with it.
Me too. I'm having a great time collecting these cards and just interacting with Pokemon in this way. It's different than a Pokemon game on my Switch. It's a whole different approach to it. I'm having a great time, man, even though Naomi keeps beating me. I'm still collecting my cards and experimenting with decks. And let's see, hopefully next year I can surpass her.
What is she running? Like, what's her deck?
So she's been running she has a Mewtwo deck, which is pretty annoying. She has Mewtwo EX. So she keeps getting Mewtwo out, and it's over for me. She also runs like a Raichu deck, where she has like Lieutenant Surge. She has the Raichu EX, and then
I had a mean Pikachu deck for a while.
And then like she'll get all the electricity on Raichu, and it's over for me.
I got a tip for you, man. You know what? There is like one deck that's like pretty good against Mewtwo. It's like water decks. Because like water decks, you can use Misty, and you can like flip a coin and just get extra water. So you can basically power up like Pokemon really fast and like power up your whole bench really quickly if you get lucky. And then there's also, if you tie that with the Arcanine X, or not Arcanine X, the ice one. Is that Arcanine? That's not Arcanine. Articuno. Jeez Louise. Articuno EX.
That would be really cool if there were ice variant of Arcanine. That would be awesome.
Honestly,
that needs to happen.
Put that in the next Pokemon game. Steal that from us. Make that happen. But yeah, dude, the water decks, I think those are good because you can just get a lot of energy.
I'm running a Blastoise deck right now, so I have a Misty card. And I agree with you. I found more success like playing random matches where I have only like 8 Pokemon at the most, and then the rest is just like
all the support cards, and items,
Because then you're more likely to run into the cards that you actually want to play.
Yeah, that's really been awesome for me. That was a good like way of calling me. I'm like, all right, I need those. I need to have the cards that'll help you, not just the Pokemon cards.
Definitely.
All right, dude. Let's move on, man. What's your top 2?
Top 2, man. Oh my god. All right. Ironically, on the second place, I have Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 was a title that really swept me off my feet. Like, I really surprised that I even picked this one up. It kind of came out of nowhere, I feel like. And I just have a bunch of hours on this game this year. Mm-hmm. I haven't really touched it in the past couple months, but I can get back to it at any time. It's a small download on my PS5, and you can get on with friends, which is what I really liked doing. I got on with Matt and his cousin a lot. I think you even got the game too, right, Blake? We ran a couple times.
Yeah, we ran it a couple times.
You kind of just get dropped on an alien planet. The whole premise of the game is that you are kind of a space colony, and you're trying to fend off like different races of invaders. So right now, the last time I played, there were Terminids, which are kind of this bug race that are like trying to take over the universe or the galaxy. And then we also have automatons, which are kind of like, think of like the movie Terminator. They're kind of like a bunch of robots that are trying to take over, the galaxy as well. And so your job as a super citizen is to go and raise hell in the name of your fellow citizens, and just try and complete objectives that will help you retain, the amount of territory that the super citizens have in the galaxy. And I really like how there's a kind of a recurring narrative being written throughout the game. So the game story is being written by a game master as the online community interacts with the automatons and the Terminids. Mm-hmm. And that was really fun to be a part of, be able to kind of meet those like overarching goals. So a good example of how the game master does this is they'll put a goal up of like 50,000 automatons just landed on this galaxy, like destroy all of the automatons. And it's a goal for everyone that plays Helldivers, or at least like within your region or your servers. And so you would try to like complete that. And if you did, there were a lot of rewards that would come through it. If you didn't, then there would be results in the story. So then now, let's say you failed, the automatons now took over that area, and now you have another frontier to go and defend and go and complete objectives at. And so just being a part of that story, seeing how the story developed over time, learning the mechanics of the game, unlocking the different items. That was a huge part for me. It was just trying to move along, progress in the game so that I can get some of the cooler items, some of the cooler weapons and abilities and kind of just gear. There's a lot of customization in Helldivers 2 that I really enjoyed. The most fun part about Helldivers 2 is just the multiplayer aspect of it all. You know, you spawn in 3 other people and you guys just have to complete these objectives together and escape. And you don't always get to escape. It gets pretty hectic, especially if you're fighting the Terminids. I mean, the automatons are really rough too, don't get me wrong. But the Terminids have like these huge kind of like, I think of like this scary movie, was it like Super 8 or something like that? Where there's like a huge kind of like tarantula.
Yeah, kind of, like a huge spider.
Huge spider. They're just a terror, man. The Terminids are rough. I preferred to fight the Terminids over the automatons. The automatons have guns. And it's just a little harder to like penetrate their armor and kill them. But you just have to use different weapons.
Yeah.
That's the way around it.
Different strategies.
Yeah. The Terminids require different strategies than the automatons, which is good. There's a lot of attention to detail in this game as well. Like, it's not just like a, get on and fight some aliens. Like, there's a lot of objectives that go into it. There's a lot of little storylines that they're telling you through these missions that you're completing. And you can help your friends kind of progress and get some really cool gear by bringing them along in some missions. That was something that I found really fun. It was like convincing friends to get it and then like, all right, now let's run some missions and let me kind of lift you up. And then seeing how once they progressed through it, they wanted to like keep going and developing. And it's definitely one of those games that rewards you for exploring and just getting out of your comfort zone a bit, in the game and trying out new things. I did not fight the automatons for a while because I was just like that. I want to keep the Terminids at bay. But the automatons grew to a point where it was like I had to start fighting them. It was fun
for democracy.
For democracy, spreading democracy. And it was fun to be a part of that. And I will definitely pick up this title again next year. I'm going to be playing that some more. Yeah, man, it's a chill game. You can get on, play it. It does get a little hectic sometimes, I will admit.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think it's the opposite of a chill game, if you ask me. I mean, like, I get what you're saying.
You have to know your difficulty. Like, if you want to have a chill time, then play maybe like an easy or medium, depending on your skill level. But if you, like, want to, like, just have a hectic experience.
Yeah.
Just go all the way to 9, which is the impossible difficulty.
That's just insane.
And then once you do that, that's something that was interesting about this is like you have to complete difficulties to move on to the next one. So in order for me to unlock 9 impossible, I had to complete 1 through 8. And you have to just complete a mission at a difficulty and then you can unlock the next difficulty. And I think the last difficulty is 10, which is like Helldiver or Hell, something like that, which I have yet to unlock. I can't do an impossible mission. But I will add as well, this is not a pay-to-play game in the sense of like you can buy all these amazing equipment. At the end of the day, if you have all these equipment and you don't know how to use it, you don't know how to like just fight as well, it's going to be pointless. It does make it easier, but ultimately you got to know what you're doing with the sticks to survive in Helldivers and complete those missions. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got a couple things I want to say on this before we move on to my number 2. I guess first off, yeah, we went on and on at the beginning of this episode about not buying new games at the beginning of this year. So we did actually do a full episode on Helldivers 2, and that's titled For Democracy, and we kind of went into why we bought this game, why we thought it was justified. Basically, it was a really unique story, and it's kind of like a new model. Although you still had to pay for it, it just kind of, the attitude and the response that they brought to it was,
I just want to say it wasn't
very welcome.
It wasn't a full price game.
Right. It also, it was $40 and you got a lot out of it. So, I mean, look, this is our podcast, our rules. We don't have to defend ourselves. I just wanted to say that we didn't really touch on it. So we go more into depth on that on our full length episode about it.
Yep.
And I guess it's also like, I've never really played a game that had this like, kind of like community goals where it's like everybody's hopping online and like you have to take out a certain amount of this like specific enemy. And like, if you don't, like, you can see it on the map, and like you can see kind of like the progress that people are making. You can see like the players online, and it's honestly, it was just a lot of fun. Like I thought that aspect was really cool. Also, like the battle pass, like I'm pretty sure like you just get access to the battle pass. It's just a lot slower to unlock it if you don't pay for it, which I thought was really nice. And they don't expire. So if we had logged on today, like I would still be able to pick up on the battle pass right where I left off, and then didn't have to pay any more than, you know, the price of admission. But I also think it was a really just like interesting exercise, like just playing it and like, what do people think? You know, like if you're like, it's kind of almost like a psychological exercise. You know what I mean? Because like if you get in this match, like, and you accidentally, like if me and Brandon are on the same team, like I could just turn my gun on him and just gun him down. Like there's not shit he can do about it. Like my bullets do just as much damage to him as like, you know, the enemy.
And you
so,
can
like, if somebody's
accidentally
like,
kill your teammates. Like you got.
Well, you can also kill them on purpose. Like if somebody's like fucking around or like they're not doing like if they're not doing the team objective, you could kill them and not call them back in.
Yep.
And like there will be people that will like they'll join and they'll just like grief you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like they'll join the mission and they'll just like join it just to sabotage you. And it's like, man, like those are few and far between. Like most of the time people are working together and cooperating. Like you do get those like kind of crazy experiences, and it's so interesting that you're just like allowed to do that in this game. Yeah, I think it's really a unique multiplayer experience. I can't necessarily say I want to see more of this. Like I think Helldivers 2 is enough for me, and I really want to get that mech. But yeah, dude, maybe we should jump back in. I think there's a new update.
I bet there is. It's probably a huge update on Helldivers 2. I had to check it out. It's been a while since I played it, but it's definitely one of those titles you can just jump right back in. I didn't know that about the Battle Pass. That's good to know. So I can like catch up on the things that I missed out. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think you can also like unlock them or like make progress towards all of them simultaneously, which I think is nice.
That's amazing.
Helldivers 2, man.
Helldivers 2, that wasn't my second game. What is your second game?
So my number 2 game of the year is Pokemon Sapphire, which I played via emulation on my iPhone.
That is a throwback, man.
It is a throwback. I have not played this game in full, I think, since I was in like middle school. And I've always like kind of said like, man, like I wish I could play Pokemon on my phone. And, you know, through Delta and like through emulation on the iPhone, which we talked about it, I just put it on here and I can just go. And I made it all the way through the gym, and I need to grind some more before I'm at a place where I can take on the Elite Four. And I took my save off of my phone and put it onto one of my like standalone emulators. And I didn't have as good of a time with it. I've actually seen myself playing it less, so I'm about to move my save back over to my phone. Because it's like if I'm on my way to work, if I'm commuting, like there's nothing better to play on the subway than 10 minutes of Pokemon, you know? And I've been in the office more this year than ever before. Spent more time commuting than I have since before COVID. And just having like a childhood classic, like Pokemon Sapphire was the game that made me fall in love with Pokemon, fall in love with RPGs, and like made me like a gamer, or like somebody that like identifies as connecting with games. So just like going back and like having that nostalgia trip was crazy. I really enjoyed this game, and I've kind of gone through a journey of like, am I able to complete the Pokédex? Like, can I complete this thing like via emulation? And it's honestly, it's a little bit trickier than you would expect. So it's interesting. It's been just like such a trip. I've had such a great time with it. But honestly, I'm just really happy that emulation is on iPhones. Like, it's something that if you've had an Android phone, you've been able to do for a long time. And Apple was kind of forced to open up their ecosystem, you know, through litigation in the UK. And I guess litigation and regulation. And I think that that's, you know, kind of, you know, touch back on the themes from the top of the episode. Like, as gaming, you know, matures as a medium, it's just going to get more heavily regulated. And if you have an industry that, you lose 25,000 jobs in 2 years, maybe there's some more regulation that's needed.
Good point.
But all that to say, man, I've got like a standalone PSP emulator on my phone. Emulating PSP games has never been easier, and playing Pokemon Sapphire has just been a blast. And like I said, I beat the gyms and I just caught Kyogre too, so.
I was going to ask, did you catch Kyogre yet?
Yeah, I just got him.
That's awesome. So
he's not on my team, but.
You got to get Rayquaza now, right? You can still.
You can't get Rayquaza in Sapphire.
You can only get Rayquaza in Emerald, right?
Emerald, yeah. Which I do have an Emerald save that I guess the last time I played it was a couple years ago through Emerald, and I have that save. I played it on my original Game Boy. Actually, I think I played it on the DS, and I bought something where I could back up that save. So I put that save on my phone. So yeah, I have like an older, my save that's on my cartridge is now on my phone. And yeah, dude, I've just been having a blast. It's going to take me a second to pull up my team, but I'd love to share my team with you. And then we can move on to our number 1 game of the year. Also, something that was different about this kind of playthrough this time around, I nicknamed everyone, which is not something that I used to do it, and then I stopped doing it because I was like, these Pokemon names are sick, but now I started naming them again. So right now I have a Gardevoir, and I nicknamed them Little Buddy. I've got a Blaziken, and I nicknamed him My Dude. So every time I throw him out, it says, "Go, my dude." And I love that. I think that's awesome. I have got a Azumarill, and I've nicknamed them Chablu, spelled CHA space BLU. They're my tank. I wanted to have one of these Pokemon on my team as a kid, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I just didn't want to invest in them. But they are a standout right now. So I've got an Absol, and I nicknamed them Tarnished.
That's perfect. Absol is totally something you might see in the Lands Between.
Absolutely. Absol has been messing people up. I've also got a Breloom, and I've nicknamed them Mushi, which I thought was awesome. They're like a fighting grass mushroom. And then my last Pokemon is a Skarmory, and I nicknamed them Dynavert.
That's an interesting name. That's awesome.
But yeah, that's my team, man. And that is my number 2 game of the year.
Have you fought the league with that team yet?
No, I haven't. I'm about to take them on. Well, I got to level them up a little. But yeah, right now my playtime is 37 hours. And most of that was either spent just on the couch, just playing on my phone, or while commuting.
You made it pretty far.
Yeah, I have all 8 gym badges. Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I got all 8. I've got 89,000 on my money, and that's it. That's my playtime, man. It's
awesome. Sapphire, I'm glad that you're taking a trip in the past of Pokemon and trying to complete those games, because it's a muscle. Completing Pokemon games is not easy. It really isn't. So you got to build that muscle, and you already completed one, so it can be done. You can do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, completing the Pokédex and Sword and Shield, that's an all-time gamer achievement, man. I'd love to maybe do that again someday. But yeah, I really want to talk to you more about this in 2025. But there's just something about these older games, these older Pokemon games, that they just have something that the new ones don't. Mm-hmm. And I think that, especially playing this and with you with BDSP, I really felt this after playing BDSP. I was like, maybe it's time that we branch out and try other RPGs that aren't Pokemon. Just because I feel, we love Pokemon here, but I'm just starting to wonder if maybe if the Pokemon company isn't gonna, push the needle forward. I think there are other franchises that might be doing that.
Definitely Dragon Quest comes to mind.
Dragon Quest also comes to mind for me.
But yeah, man, that's definitely a conversation for next year, trying out some different RPGs. I feel like we just start gushing when we talk about Pokemon, because that's the main RPG we play. But I'd love to branch out and see what else is out there.
All right, I'll just say it. It's almost 2025. I've been playing some Dragon Quest 11, man.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You've been enjoying it?
Oh, yes. Hell yes, man. I've been having so much fun with that. I've been playing it with the Japanese, the audio. It's Japanese audio, like Japanese voiceover.
Got you.
And yeah, so I guess Japanese dub, English subtitles, and dude, it's just been. I have been having like so much fun with that, and I think the turn-based combat's really so much fun. So you're gonna hear more about that in 2025, man.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, we've got to move on to our number one, man.
Numero uno over here. Man, I think it's the same one for both of us. You want to just shout it out on 3?
No, it absolutely is. It's absolutely the same game.
All right. 1, 2,
you go first.
3. Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, baby.
That is our number one for this year. We both agreed. And it's not something we talked about. I thought about my list. I was like, man, this is still the best game this year that I played. It's going to sound like I'm putting this game on such a pedestal, but I'm really not. Like, if you've not experienced Elden Ring and you love Skyrim or you like kind of just RPGs, adventure games, you'll get lost in the lands between. There's just so much attention to detail. The story, there's nothing that's spoon-fed to you in this game. You kind of have to go out and grab it. It's just a game that the community is so active and kind of similar to Minecraft in the sense where it's like sort of a sandbox. There's so much you could do in Elden Ring. I love watching videos of what people have been able to achieve in the lands between.
Yeah, like what kind of builds people have.
Yeah, certain playthroughs, different play styles. Like there's just, every time I'm surprised as to like what people are able to do in Elden Ring. It never ceases to amaze me as far as like every time I get in a playthrough, there's something for me to do.
Absolutely.
There's never a moment I'm in the lands between and I'm lost as far as like, I don't know what to do. Like there's always enemies outside. You can always explore a little dungeon. Like there's a lot of secrets in this game and you're going to have to do the work to find them. And not one playthrough is the same, which is something I really appreciate about Elden Ring. It's like, I've restarted Elden Ring like 5 times already, and not one playthrough has been the same. And I've literally started Elden Ring with the same build, and it's still a different experience every time. And I think that just speaks to kind of the ingenuity by FromSoft, and just the love they have for the game, man. I can tell they really were passionate, they were proud about this project. You know, when they finished this game, there was nobody that could tell them that this game sucked. I could tell that they were confident about this and they wanted to share it with us. And I'm so glad they did. I mean, this game came out 2 years ago now.
Yeah, I think so.
2 years ago now, and it's the community.
I think
Community is still active as ever. I think that speaks to just how good the game is. We have some new DLCs in the pipeline 2 years later. And this,
I think a DLC actually came out this year.
Yeah, we had a DLC.
But,
this
we
year.
haven't played it, but
We have some more DLCs coming on top of that.
So I sent you something. It was just announced a couple of days ago. That's going to be a standalone game, another standalone Elden Ring game.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, called Night Rain.
Interesting.
It's crazy. We can't get into it right now, but we should definitely talk about this later because it's crazy. It sounds absolutely crazy.
But yeah, man, I've gotten lost in the lands between, and I'm gonna find my way through so I can get to that DLC. I definitely want to experience the DLC before I stop playing Elden Ring, and I'm just excited to see what the future holds for Elden Ring for me personally. You know, I'm kind of like at a bit of a plateau, and so I want to kind of figure out how to keep elevating and just get to that post game. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Dude, okay. I've got so much to say about this, man. So, I guess when we talked about this a couple years ago, I gave this game like 30 hours. I was just like, it's not for me, and I bounced. And this game really is like what this year has been for me, where it's like you go back into your backlog, you go back into the games you own, and you just give something another shot. And I gave this game another shot, dude, and this has been like the best year of gaming ever, and it's like because of Elden Ring, man. I have fallen so deep into this game. I'm over 100 hours. I'm so close to the end. I tried my damnedest to finish this before this recording. I beat the Fire Giant. But did you ever beat the Fire Giant?
The Fire Giant, where were they?
They're like the last boss in the Land of the Giants.
No, I didn't beat the Fire Giant.
I made it further than you then.
I battled the Frost Giant, and I still haven't been able to figure out how to kill it.
It's like the Frost Giant? Does it have like red hair?
There's a giant. I don't know I don't remember really, but I know it's not the Fire Giant. I didn't fight the Fire Giant yet. There are multiple giants on the mountaintop of the giants, right?
I think, well, yeah, there's just like there's a bunch of smaller ones, and then there's like a main boss that's like he's the Fire Giant, man. There's no other way to say it. He's just got like red hair. He shoots fire.
I think I may have approached him, but I never defeated him for sure. Never defeated him. That's something you could do in this game. You could just go from the start. If you can find your way to a boss you have no business fighting, and try and fight him.
Yeah. But I just I just completely fell in love with this game. This game has just given me so much. Like, I'm going to be honest, man. I feel like this game like kind of reinvigorated my love for gaming. Or it's like a game that's so deep that like the more you give to it, the more you get out. And this is something we haven't really talked about on the podcast.
That's high praise, brother. That's high.
No,
he said
I know, man.
Reinvigorated my love for gaming. That's well put.
It has, man. It has, dude. Because I've been kind of feeling this way these last couple of years, like especially like since we've been doing the pod and like just like we experience more games, like nothing's like really hit for me aside from Breath of the Wild. Like I feel like, well, Breath of the Wild and Citizen Sleeper. I feel like those are the two games that like just like really hit me. And I feel like both those games are so different. They're trying new things. I'm just like, what is something new that's gonna like, I don't know, make me feel something? And this game has done that for me. And it's crazy because like I played 30 hours of it, started it like twice. Like I restarted it after playing 30 hours, and I just like had a terrible time. Like I just like I stopped and I walked away because I just wasn't having fun. And we've talked about it before, but it's like that RPG trope, man, where it's like your starting class dictates your starting experience. And it's just like, I'm so far past that it kind of, you kind of just look in the mirror like, what starting class? Like I haven't used those items for 100+ hours, but it's like that determines like how you feel when you start out. And it's like, there's probably a starting character that you probably never would have picked, and that's the starting character that like would have made you feel something. And I kind of want to give a shout out to my buddy Kyle, because Kyle, dude, I think you would love this game, man. And I know that you played it when it came out and you walked away. And I'm telling you, man, you got to give it another shot. And if you're one of those people that was like me, you got to give it another shot, man. And
that happens a lot with this game, Blake.
Yeah, give it another shot, man. Because I swear, I was 30+ hours in and just hated it. I think it's one of the best games that's ever been made. And it's like reinvigorated my love of like fantasy, of just like media in general. Like the way that it's like made me feel just like hope. I don't know. Which is crazy because like the game is just like so dark and it's just like such a terrible world. It's been like therapeutic for me, man, because it's like, if I've got like shit going on in my life, I'm like, I may not be able to like handle this problem in a day. You know, like this is something that like it's going to take time to overcome, but I can hop into Elden Ring and I can grind away, man. I can kill that dragon, you know? And it's just like one of those things, I don't know, it gives you like the power of overcoming obstacles.
Definitely. The game is brutally unforgiving from the moment you start. They're not going to give you any training wheels or anything. And that's something that appealed to me from the beginning, because usually games are like, they want to keep you. Like they do all this research to look into like, oh, people put down games after the third hour if such and such condition. They didn't do any of that here. They were just like, they had these ideas. It really felt like one of those things where it's like, this doesn't exist and we want it to exist, let's create it. And they executed, and I think that they've like they've exceeded their own kind of expectations with what they were able to build, to the point where like I'd love to see a documentary. Like I want to see like a documentary of this process, of this team, like who are they, and
just anything really, like maybe interviews, like give me anything. Like
yeah, I'm really curious, you know, down to the character creation, the art, the mobs, the enemies, the lore. It's just like everything is just, I don't want to say perfect, but it's like actually a lot of it is imperfect, and that's kind of what gives it an appeal in a sense. Is like there are boss fights where I'm like, for example, the Godskin tear, like the one,
the Godskin Apostle duo,
the one that like rolls around, the big one, he like inflates and he starts rolling around. Like when I was fighting that one, I was like, this feels unfair. Like this fight is just like,
bro, I killed like 2 of those last night. Do you want me to? There's like a really good way to like kind of take them out. There's an item. It's literally in the starting area.
a sleeping pot.
The sleeping pot.
Yeah, see that I watched a video and I learned about that method, but even still, it's still a little difficult to like. You got to pull it out, and then you got to wait for the right moment to throw it at him, or else you might just miss and you just wasted a sleeping pot. And it's like
you can lock onto him and throw the sleeping pot.
It's never easy, man. Like this game,
it's not.
There's nothing that comes easy in Elden Ring, and you grow to love it. You really do. And I know it sounds weird. It's like it's a hard game. Most people put down hard games, and that's what I was trying to say earlier. Is like,
yeah,
so many of my friends that picked this up, that I've told to pick up, they're just like, yeah, man, I'm not playing that anymore. It's just not for me.
No, it's because it's brutal, right? But then if you just like, man, this is like the hardest thing I've ever done in a video game, and you get past that, you're not going to feel good. Like, it's going to feel bad. Like, you're going to get through the boss and you're just going to be like, fuck you, finally did this. Like, you don't even feel good about how mad, like, you're so mad and upset that, like, you don't even feel good about it. But then it's like, all right, well, what's next? You know?
Yep. What else can you throw at me?
What's next? What can you throw at me that I can't, like, what can you throw at me? And I feel like that is just, that feeling, like, after you get past that and you get, like, it's almost like, it's not like getting past it in the moment that matters. It's like in 5 hours or like in an hour when you see like the coolest shit you've ever seen in a video game. You're just like, damn, that was behind this. Yep. You know, like, not to say like it's like an allegory for life, you know what I mean? But like some of like the things that test you the hardest, you know, lead you down a path where that you never thought you would be. Definitely. And that makes you so happy.
Definitely. It challenges you in ways you would never expect a video game to challenge you. It's like going back to the boss fights. Like there have been boss fights where I'm like, all right, I'm not doing this. I'm just going to turn this off after this one. And then I'm like, all right, let me try one more time. So I got
one more time.
I got pretty close right there. If I had just maybe rolled that, and next thing you know, I'm 15 more attempts in, and I'm like, but I'm that much closer. And then I finally get it, and I'm like, okay, that was fun. I did it. Pat myself on the back, and it's like, okay, cool. And now I have to keep going. There's probably some other crazy, and it only gets crazier too. Like the more you progress, it's not like you get to a point in Elden Ring where, okay, now you can kind of like smooth sail. There's never any smooth sailing in the lands between. And you just might get invaded too. You just might be like fighting the boss battle of your life, and you're like, all right, I'm finally gonna figure this out, and then boom, you get invaded, and this random person ruins your chance right there. Which is also a really cool aspect of this game. It's still multiplayer based, even though it's your experience, it's your lands between. You can still see other Tarnished and their bloodstains and their messages and how they've died. And so it kind of connects us all into this experience that is Elden Ring.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously like there's that multiplayer aspect to it where you see like the shadows and ghosts of other Tarnished as well as the bloodstains and how people died. But you can also like take this on with friends, you know what I mean? Like I was stuck at the Draconic Tree Sentinel, like the first one, and I was like, I'm just banging my head against this. And like I summoned you in, and you were able to like help me move past that. Where it's like sometimes like you need to call in the help of a friend. And I want to give a shout out to 2 friends that I was playing this with. Shout out to Robert and Andrew. We were playing this earlier in the year, and we just had like a blast. Like the 3 of us, like we hopped into somebody else's world, and we're just we're just running around Stormvale Castle, just like messing up Stormvale Castle, and like we were just like playing, and then like one person killed like a banished knight, and they just got like a ton of like cool Elden Ring drip, and I was so jealous that I didn't. But then like later I got like some crazy like weapon, and it's just like there are just so many reasons to play, you know, with other people and your friends. And like obviously like there's like a positive message where it's like sometimes you need to call in help, and
Yep.
you know, you need to have somebody help you through some tough moments. But then there's also like having people around can just make an experience so much more fun. And like for example, like Stormvale Castle, like as I was playing through that by myself, I got pretty far into it, and I'm like, this place just sucks. Like this place is oppressive. It's hard. It's like a dark labyrinth. There's enemies everywhere. It's just like a maze, like a death maze. And then you call into your buddies, and it's just like it turns into like a laughing stock, because it's like the three of you can take on anything.
Right.
And in fact, we did, you know. And then like even when I came after that and like played as myself, like after that experience, like I'm like, Stormvale Castle is a joke. I got this, you know. And it's just, man, I just like, what a crazy like wonderful game, man. I'm fantasy pilled though now. All I want to do is engage in fantasy.
Elden Ring is definitely a great game to engage in fantasy. There's just so much lore. And when I say there's so much lore, I don't mean like there's like scrolls and stuff where you, like Skyrim, where they're going to give it, spoon feed it to you. A lot of the lore is just gathered by people who've spent countless hours in this game and have picked up on small details, picked up a rare item that maybe drops like 1 out of 10 times when you defeat an enemy.
Like, you read the item description and it like changes everything.
Exactly. And it's like they're not trying to like force anything. Like the FromSoft, when they made this game, they weren't trying to like, oh, you should do this, or you should actually walk through here. It's just like, nope, these are the lands between. You are tarnished. Figure it out. It's pretty much it.
Damn, dude.
Love that game, man. It's a work of art. That's definitely one of those where it is art. And man, I like how you put it earlier. It's like it makes you kind of appreciate video games as a form of art and what can be done. And like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of imperfection in this game. This game is not the most perfect game in any sense of the word.
Far from it.
It's just an experience that if you get into it, you'll get sucked into it. Trust me. It's a whole world of its own. And 2025, you can expect some more Elden Ring content from us. We are definitely going to be spending more time in the lands between. Looking forward to checking out that DLC. I have to beat the main story first, which will be really hard to do.
Hey man, I'm in the end game, baby.
We can do it. If Blake got it done, I'm going to get it done. We're going to get into DLC.
I'm insanely close. I almost don't even want to say how close I am.
Don't jinx it, bro. Don't jinx it on the Game of the Year episode, man.
I'm close. Next time we talk about this, I'll be Elden Lord, baby.
You'll be Elden Lord. All right. Man, I had to catch up.
If you need help defeating the fire giant, I got you, man.
I just might have to call in a friend, man. I just might have to phone a friend.
Also, you can phone in Sir Alexander. Oh my gosh, what is his full name? He's got a crazy name.
See, there's just like all sorts of random shit that like there might have been a person who played Elden Ring more than us who might not even know about that, because it's just really one of those games where it's like things are just not spoon fed to you. It's like either you just missed it. You can mess up a whole quest line, which I did with one of my playthroughs. You can absolutely like take the wrong decision, and that's it. The quest line is like not suited to what you're trying to do.
Oh, I absolutely had one of those, man, where I was talking to an NPC. I was talking to an NPC, and they were like a key NPC. I didn't know this, but I had was fighting some other people, and then I found them and started talking to them. And then the enemies that I was fighting aggroed her. And then from then on out, she wouldn't talk to me. She just tried to kill me, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't forgive my sins. It was just over. That quest was just over. So I just had to kill her and move on.
Unforgiving game. And then that quest line might have given you an item that would have made things a little easier. Yeah.
There's a couple
and it's just if you miss really the item, you miss the item. That's it.
Yeah,
you got to figure it out now.
Yeah, New Game Plus it, man.
Yeah, or there's other way around it. There's always another way in Elden Ring. there's always like a solution in Elden Ring. Like that's something I like too. It's like just because you made a class doesn't mean that you have to stick to how that class fights. Like you can branch out and try out different things. It really is like I like to call it like sticks. Like how good are you on the sticks? It really is one of those where like if you're that good on the sticks from the start, you can start fighting bosses and things. And I like watching those playthroughs too of people who just get on with just they take off everything and they're just fighting with like a stick. Like, and they have all sorts of items and stuff, and they figure out a way to like
how do they do it?
Come out on top.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, it's just so cool to see those kind of playthroughs and whatnot. But yeah, the NPC is Iron Fist Alexander, and you can summon him in to fight the fire giant. But you have to finish his quest line up until that point.
See, I hadn't completed that quest line. I got to do that.
Yeah. Did you summon him in for Radahn, the Radahn festival?
I don't have him. I don't have Sir Alexander. I need him.
Oh man, I think you have to like interact with him in Limgrave. And then I think you have to interact with him during like the Radahn festival. And if you don't, I'm not sure if he can show up. I guess you'll just have to summon me, man.
I'll just have to summon you, dude.
Oh my gosh. You don't know what happens after the fire giant.
No, man. I have no idea. And don't spoil it for me. I want to get there on my own.
All right. Well, we're going to have to hop back into this, man.
The lands between, man. I'm going to have to summon you.
Yeah. I'm always available, man. My character's name is Igor Veilheart. I may have to change my last name based on like some of the deeds that I've done in the land between.
What have you done?
I got married, bro.
Oh, so now you have to change your last name to
maybe. I don't have to, but I might.
Igor the Witch?
No, maybe. I'm the consort, man.
The
consort of Princess Rani. So I may just have to. I may just have to change my name.
Igor Rani.
I don't know. I'm sure she's got
a last name.
No, it's Carrigan. She's part of the Carrigan royal family.
Oh, okay. The Carrion?
Yeah, Carrion.
Oh man, that lore is awesome too. The Carrion.
That is crazy. That is really cool lore. Dude, you gotta beat that freaking fire giant, man. That is just insane. Like what happens from there on out is.
I'm gonna get there, dude. I'm gonna get there.
I want to tell you, but maybe it's honestly, if I had beaten it, I would have spoiled that for you. So maybe it's a good thing that I didn't.
God, I've already watched a video of like the Elden Lord fight, like the last fight, but I haven't gotten to see those cutscenes. Like sometimes they do give you like some cutscenes that are really really cool. I love their cutscenes because it rarely happens, but when it does,
yeah,
they're cinematic AF.
It just like changes. All right, dude. Well, I think maybe we should end it up. I know we have some honorable mentions written down, but I think those are for 2025.
Those are definitely for 2025, man. I had a great time getting my top 5 out this year.
I think that this top 5 may have been longer than our last top 10. I don't really know how we did that, but
we did. And we're here, man. And Elden Ring was number 1.
Hell yeah, dude.
We did not.
Is this the first time our number ones have been the same?
Yes, it is. It totally is, man. And rightfully so. There's no like, what else could we have put there, really? I mean,
yeah,
it's nothing quite like this one.
Else.
Tune in if you haven't already. You will not regret it.
Yeah, and definitely check out some of our past episodes as well. Some of the Elden Ring ones are a lot of fun.
Those are a lot of fun recording the Elden Ring episodes. You just like we did just now, we go off for a little longer, and it's always fun for us to talk about what's going on in the lands between for us. There's always something going on. But thank you so much for sticking with us, for tuning in.
Yeah,
this was a lot of fun getting this list out, kind of having to reflect on my year of gaming and seeing like, where I rank things. That was really, really cool. And man, I'm looking forward to next year. I'm so excited for 2025 and what's on the horizon for gaming, what Blake and I can achieve here on the podcast, the content that we're going to bring you guys. We have some sick ideas for next year. Mm-hmm. I'm stoked. I really am.
Yeah, I'm so ready for 2025, man. I mean, it's December 17th right now, so we're at the very tail end of the year. Yeah, dude, Christmas is only a couple days away. We got some great, exciting I don't know. I'm just excited for the holidays, man. I'm excited to just chill out and just have a great time. But I guess we should really wrap this up. It's been going on for forever. So I guess from the bottom of our hearts, just thank you so much for listening. We hope that you have a happy holiday season and a good start to the new year. And there's no better way to start the new year than by joining our Discord.
Yep.
The link will be in our
description below. Tune in, guys. Join the
You can
Discord.
add us. That's the best way to get a hold of us. I was just posting in some news articles today that I thought were interesting. And if you listen to this show, financially supporting it via Patreon would really mean a lot to us. It would go a long way. And you would get access to our Minecraft server. And we just want to give a special shout out to our active patrons. You know who you are. And if you're not active and you supported us in the past, thank you for that as well.
Super grateful.
Yes, super grateful for that. We appreciate it. And if you can't financially support us, you can support us by sharing this episode with a friend. We also recently just had our 100th episode, like a 100th episode celebration. That's a great one to share with people. We had a great time on that. And yeah, I guess just have a great start to 2025.
Let's go.
All right.